46 years ago today, one of my favorite shows of all time debuted on CBS. That was January 26, 1979. And that show is, of course, The Dukes of Hazzard. The Dukes of Hazzard became an extremely popular show, of course, into the 80s. I was born in November of 1982 and is honestly my first show that I remember watching, my first show ever that I remember watching. And my grandfather lived in West Virginia. My grandparents lived in West Virginia. I grew up in Ohio. But anytime we got together, long weekend, or for a week we were visiting, or he was visiting, him and my grandmother were visiting, we watched The Dukes of Hazzard together. I still remember him laughing, watching it. And of course, I was very young. So this would have been, it started in 79, went in through, I think, 85. I would have only been 3 when the show went off the air. Do I remember watching it live? I feel like I do. I probably watched some reruns into the later part of the 80s. And then, of course, they went off. And then they stopped reruns until I became, I think, around 7th or 8th grade. They started showing old reruns of the Dukes of Hazzard on the old TNT, or not TNT, TNN program, the Nashville network, which is no longer in existence. They started showing the Dukes there. They got popular again. They did some of their reunions. And so I started collecting Dukes of Hazzard stuff. I've shown this on this channel before. I had a few items from when I was a kid. And then as I got older, I started collecting items. I pick up items. It's hard to find. It's not like some other things. I do collect Ghostbusters and some wrestling. This is harder to find stuff. I got some from friends. I've got stuff from people that have passed away. My sister-in-law, her mother was a collector of stuff, and she had a lot of Duke stuff. She passed away, and I got some of the stuff from her. So I want to show a little bit of this off. I'm going to start with, I believe, the first item I ever got. I just got to find it. Where did it go? All right, so these are the first 2 items I mentioned. When I was a kid, and I used to watch the Dukes, my parents bought me, you can guess which one. They bought me this one right here. Of course, when they bought it, it was new, and it was not rusty. And I used to sit in front of the television and watch the Dukes of Hazzard and watch other programs. And this is, of course, a TV tray, just like I have not got this out for years. And I used to sit here, my legs underneath it, and I would eat French onion dip, chicken noodle soup. I love chicken noodle soup. And I would eat on this Dukes tray, watching the Dukes or watching other cartoons and such. And then, of course, what happens? Things spill on it, and it starts to rust. But when I bought one, I don't remember where we bought it or how we got it, but I remember the story goes that I told my mom, wait a minute, we got to get one for Grandpa because he loves the Dukes too. So this was his. Now, if you could tell, I use mine a lot more. He didn't use his much. Now, it is well over 40 years old, so it's going to rust. But that was from wear and tear of using it, and that was his. So this went to his house. I don't know how many times he actually used it, and then he passed away in 1998, and they said, what do you want from Grandpa's house? And I said, I know exactly what I want, what I got him years ago, or what I didn't actually pay for it because I was just a few years old, maybe 4, 5, 6, I don't know, somewhere in there. So I got these, and they've been in this cabinet here with my other Duke stuff. I don't even know what the value of these are. They're in rough shape, especially this one, but I don't know. There's no way I would sell them. Now, this is another cool item here. This particular shadow box was actually built by a gentleman that we go to church with. He actually, though, unfortunately passed away just a couple years ago. And I'd say about 8 years ago, 6, 7, 8 years ago, he brought me this. And he said, hey, give this to Brady or one of the boys, and they could put some of their Matchbox cars in it. I said, okay. But as soon as I saw it, I said, no. I know what is going to go in there. And I got it to put in Dukes of Hazzard cars. Now, a lot of these are the original, especially these ones that are rusty. These two, I would guess, are remakes. They have remade stuff over the years, especially like in the late 90s, early 2000s. This one looks too clean and too good to be an original. I would guess early 80s, and these would be newer ones. But I love this piece, and I really appreciate the gentleman named Clayton who built that for us. Did he know why he was building it for us? It was going to be for the boys, but I claimed it. So if you notice, here's a few more Dukes figures. I got this little scene set up. Now, the Duke's car, Roscoe's car, Boss's car, those are all original, of course. The bulldozer and the tanker truck, those were just Hot Wheels cars that I added with it. That's a Cooter's garage truck. Now, that is a remake. We bought that at Cooter's down in Gatlinburg, the Dukes of Hazzard store they have there. This is a couple more cop cars. Those are actually not Dukes and neither are these items, but I thought they fit with it. The power poles there, those were added in. They came in a set that the boys were probably going to get rid of. And so I like those. I like having those. And I can't have too many of the cars. Some other items here. You see in the middle, I'm going to open these doors if I'm able. This cabinet here was actually, I think it came from a Sears. I don't know if it came from a Sears or a gas station. A gentleman that had worked for Sears had got it, and I bought it from him. If you notice here, there's like cigarette ads. So it was a cigarette cabinet, I guess. This Dukes of Hazzard trash can. This is also original. Right there, the date is 1981. A good friend of mine, when we were teenagers, actually bought that for me, and I love it. It's just a great piece. Boss, my favorite, of course. Roscoe, just a great piece. These items here, now I don't like a lot of the remake stuff. I do have some of it. Of course, I want the original. And these two items are a couple of my favorite, but they're not original. I bought these also down in Cooter's in Gatlinburg, owned by Ben Jones, who played Cooter on the Dukes of Hazzard. He owns several stores, 3 or 4 stores at least. And I bought these. I think they're $10, but I love them. They just really fit the cabinet out great. Another Duke's car. This is plastic one. I got several puzzles. This is a Dukes of Hazzard puzzle. This is also original. This Dukes of Hazzard CD, of course, is not original 81. There was no CDs. That's from the late 90s when Dukes had a resurgence. I picked that up. I think I got it when I was a teenager there. This is also a Dukes of Hazzard set. This is I've never used these, and these are also original 81. I picked these up. I mentioned my sister-in-law's mother. It was a collector of all kinds of stuff. And she had some Duke stuff. And when she passed away, they said, "Do you want some of this Duke stuff?" I said, "Absolutely." That's one of the items I know for sure. That's a bow figure there in the back. My wife always jokes. My mom always jokes. My wife always jokes. She calls wrestling figures dolls. And I said, "No, they're wrestling figures. They're not dolls." That, I think, I would say that's probably a doll there, though. I could call it an action figure. This is also another awesome piece. Anything with Boss, I love. This is a Boss Hog Cup. Also, this is 82. Got some thumbtacks in it right now. And that's from McDonald's. I guess they gave those away, or I don't know if they were Happy Meal items, or maybe if you bought something, paid another $1, you can get this Duke's Cup. There's a whole set of them. That's the only one I have, though, unfortunately. This Dukes of Hazzard item, that's from 97. So remember, it came back on TV on TNN. There was a resurgence in popularity, and that's one of the items, that model set there. It's not put together. This is a car case. You could put different cars in it. The cars actually that I got, they came in that, but I put them in that display case. That's an original item. These Dukes items here, if you notice, $1.75. This is also another remake, I believe. Yeah, these are from 97. These little cars. And I've got the General. I got Enos's police car, Boss's Cadillac, Daisy's Jeep, Uncle Jesse's truck, and Cooter's tow truck there. That's all of them. Also now let's look here. This puzzle is original, of course. Once again, if it's got Boss on it, that's my favorite. This, I got a feeling this is going to be a remake too, but I don't know. This date is, no, it's 81. It's in great shape. I wasn't sure on that. I thought that might be a remake. There's, they put out some VHS tapes. I got a couple of those. Of course, I got all the seasons as well on DVD. They're all great. I mean, the season with Coy and Vance is not as good, but we'll take what we can get. So that's all the Duke stuff in this cabinet. And then, of course, I have this other cabinet here, a smaller cabinet. This is a Duke's thermos. It is missing the top. That came with a Dukes of Hazzard lunchbox, which I also have. There's another one of those little small cars. There's some coloring books. Those are all original from 81 or 82. You see those in the back there. Now, I need to do some work down here. This was made. I don't know where this came from. Somebody made this. That's the logo for the movie, which I hated. So there's the Duke's watch. This also 81. Still got the papers in it. I have not turned it on or used it. I assume it works. I have no idea. Maybe it doesn't, but it should. It's never been used. This is a Boss figure. We talked about those dolls. This is an original as well. It says it's a 8-inch fully posable figure, so it's not a doll. Thankfully, originally it came from Kmart, and that's in the package. I have another Boss somewhere that is out of the package, but that one is in the package. This is cool. This is an Etch-a-Sketch action pack. Contains 6 reusable fun screens. I'll be honest with you, I didn't hardly even know they made those. They go over the Etch-a-Sketch. I guess you could try to draw those items or connect the dots there. There's different items there. There's the coloring books in the back, and there's also a Dynamite Dares to Ride with the Dukes. It's like a playset book or something. It's back there in plastic. There's an awesome game here. I picked that up at a sale. I think I have a couple. I've got 3 of those. One of them I bought. Another one I believe came from the same spot where I got the other items. And then another one somebody gave me. One's not in the best of shape. There's another coloring book back there. Another car. This is a sticker that we bought at Cooter's down in Gatlinburg. There's another one of those Boss Hog figures back there. Now, our vintage collectible cabinet, our room, it's kind of under construction. We've been weeding some stuff out, getting some new stuff, getting some new shelving. So we've got to do some TLC to the room, but I had to move a cabinet to get to this. This is some of my favorite Duke items. These are the little figures there. I think Mego makes those. I think that's who it is. Those are great figures. I've got Boss, you see there in the front. There's another Boss in the back. There's a Cooter, and then there's a Bo and Luke that are not in the best of shape. Bo is fine. Luke's his legs are taped on. So there is a Daisy, there is a Uncle Jesse, there's an Enos, and a Roscoe. That if I had to make a list of the things that I would love to find the most out of all our collectibles, I would put those right at the top, or at least in the top 3. They're expensive though, and I do not want to pay $40, $50 for one figure. You can get the whole set for $200 maybe. I don't want to do that. I don't have the money to do that. There's also a Duke's lunchbox back there. That's a great one. There's a Koi Advance Edition as well that I've seen out, but I do not have one of those. But that's the good one there in the back. And I'm not gonna. If I open this cabinet door, half the figures will fall, and I'm not gonna open it up. All right, this is a photo from Culver City, California. This is a cemetery there in Culver City, and that is the grave of Sorrel Book, better known as Boss Hog. And when my dad and I did a Route 66 trip back in 2013, and we kind of booked our hotels, and I was looking for some fun stuff to do. We're going to do some California stuff. My dad had never been. I had only been one time. I said, okay, we're going to go to Santa Monica Pier. We're going to go to the Hollywood sign. And I said, we got to check out some celebrity graves. And I started looking around, and I said, you got to be kidding. Like a mile or two down the road was this grave of Boss Hog. So my dad and I went, and I kind of had scoped it out. I kind of knew where we were going. And then after I got in there, I realized I don't know. The area that I thought it was at, it wasn't. And there was an attendant there. And my dad said, go up there and ask him where Boss Hog's buried. I said, Dad, that's not really his name. He said, well, what's his name? I said, Sorrel Book. He said, well, he's not going to know who that is. Everybody knows Boss Hog. Go ask him. I said, no. Finally, the gentleman walked over and said, can I help you? And I said, I'm looking for the grave of Sorrel Book. He said, Boss Hog, he's right over here. And we got to go. And I went back actually in 2015 with the boys. We were looking for some other graves. And actually, it was just crazy. We stopped. We were looking for some other graves. And I slipped over and went to his grave again. And they didn't take the boys. They couldn't believe it after we left. We're like, what? How did we not go to Boss Hog's grave? We tried to go back in 2022. It's a Jewish cemetery. It was a Saturday. It's a Sabbath. It was closed. But this past summer, 2024, summer 24, we went back and we all got to go to Sorrel Book's grave. So I've been there 3 times, tried to go there 4 times. I guess that's something to be proud of. I don't know. But it's cool. And every time I go back to California, if I'm in the area, I will stop again. All right, so this photo was taken back in 2010. It's at the Star Cars tour in the Smoky Mountains. Actually, this is actually in Gatlinburg. And in the back there, you see Ethan, who was only 2.5. Brady was less than a month old. He was born June 17th. This was like mid-July. He might have been a month old, but that's it. And we went in there. I said, we got to get a photo in the General Lee. And we've got some other photos since then, but I had to frame this one. We showed you Boss Hogg's grave. This is actually the unmarked grave of Denver Pyle, who played Uncle Jesse. This is in Forreston, Texas, south of, I don't know if it's just south of Austin, or maybe it's just a little north of Austin. We left Dallas, went to Waco, and then made our way on to San Antonio. On the way, we stopped at the unmarked grave. You can tell exactly where the grave is by some relatives there. That's in the Forreston Cemetery in Forreston, Texas. All right, this is also a filming location. This is in Covington, Georgia. And if you know anything about the Dukes of Hazzard, the first 5 episodes were filmed in Covington and Conyers in that Georgia area. It was a hit, and they went ahead and moved it on to California to save money. That is I don't know if it's the courthouse or the city hall building there in Covington, Georgia. And if you watch those first few episodes, you will see that building several times. This is also either in Covington or right outside of Covington. This is the original Boar's Nest. Now, they rebuilt it actually a couple times in California, but this is the original one from the first 5 episodes. It's now a church. We stopped by there. We also stopped by some of the first jump scenes. It's we got a video of that from going to Covington from a couple of years ago. So it's pretty cool. Here's another one of these puzzles. This is a jump scene from the show. And this is, of course, original as well. I'm not showing the date on it. It's either 81 or 82. There's other stuff. There's other Dukes items we like to continue to collect. Also want to collect some more Dukes photos. We'd like to go to James Best's grave. It's in Indiana, southern Indiana. Some other things as well. Thanks for watching as we celebrate 46 years of one of the greatest shows of all time, The Dukes of Hazzard.